Baby Soft.
Yeah.
And a lot of the guys here have memories of this particular perfume.
Exactly. Love's Baby Soft. It's from the 70s. It was actually marketed towards women to be, you know, sort of a youthful perfume, but for a lot of girls, it was their first perfume. So, you know, guys and girls have a lot of memories of this. It has a real baby powder smell.
Yeah, can I tell you something? John DeBon, a Lore director, he was thinking about a girl. Dennis McKenna, a stage manager here, he was thinking about a girl. So these things, these scents take you way back in
Yeah,
time.
maybe, you know, a woman could try it now, see, you know, what memories pop up.
Hey.
Good morning, Sucknut Man. How you doing? Excited about the game tomorrow? Before we get started, I normally don't do this ever, and I don't know that I've ever done it on a hype and hate video. So don't click off the video, but quick word from today's sponsor.
There's a place called Jet Puff Nation, yummy good sensation, marshmallow population. We don't get bent out of shape, keep bending to something great, cause life's a sweet creation. We go back to the drawing board.
Yeah, probably pretty soft, I don't know. Anyway, Georgia versus Ohio State in the Peach Bowl. And why does it seem like this is a game that a lot of people have been waiting on for a long time? And I don't mean just like the 4 weeks it's been since this game was announced. It seems like, for whatever reason, a lot of people in the college football world have wanted to see a Georgia versus Ohio State game. I'm not all that sure why. But this is one of those games, sort of like wish list games, you know. Like, it just seems like people have been wanting to see this game for a while. So for those people, you're going to get your wish tomorrow night, 8 p.m., Mercedes-Benz Stadium, the Peach Bowl, the playoff semifinals. Familiar spot for Georgia. Yeah. Ohio State, well, yeah, they make the playoffs every once in a while. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. But, yeah, Georgia versus Ohio State. People have been waiting to see it, and it doesn't get much bigger than this, a playoff game. Ohio State, of course, just lucky to be here, really. A real Cinderella story, Ohio State. Not a very good team. Got blown out the last time we saw them play by Georgia Junior. Dollar store, Georgia. No disrespect intended towards Michigan. Michigan's a really good team. They're clearly way better than Ohio State. They ran them out of their own building in Columbus less than a month ago. But no disrespect intended towards Michigan, but that's what they are. They're Georgia Junior. They're dollar store. Georgia, if you go to wish.com and order Georgia, Michigan shows up at your front door, and they just absolutely destroyed and humiliated you. That was just... And there's so many ways in which that game was bad for Ohio State. It's almost hard to even comprehend. There's a clear pattern going on with Ohio State. First of all, yes, they're soft. That's just a reality. I'm not here to tell you that a soft team can't win a national title. I'm not real sure why Ohio State fans get so mad, butthurt, and get all up in their feelers anytime somebody tells them they're soft. It's just the reality. I'm not telling you it's impossible for a soft team to win a national title. I am telling it's impossible for you to win a national title this year because you got to play Georgia tomorrow and you can't win that game. But I don't know why Ohio State fans get so mad. But yeah, you are soft. You know you're soft. The coaches know y'all are soft. Y'all's fans know. Everyone knows you're soft. Going back to last year, you spent an entire offseason making changes and doing things so that hopefully you wouldn't be quite as soft this year. But it turns out none of that worked. You brought in Jim Knowles from Oklahoma State to save the day. Nobody even knew who Jim Knowles was a year and a half ago. Suddenly, he's the savior of the suck nut. He comes in. You started out okay, a 21-10 win over Notre Dame. Defensively, it started out okay. But then we found out that Notre Dame just doesn't have any offense at all. They went out and lost to Marshall and Stanford in the same month they lost to you. And Marshall and Stanford scored more on them than you did. But anyway, that's not really the point. Everything this season was building towards the Michigan game for Ohio State. And I mean everything. Because as you know, this wasn't the first year Ohio State got embarrassed by Michigan, got pushed around, got bullied. You got big boyed by Michigan last year. And for 365 days, Ohio State sat around doing everything they could possibly think of to make sure that that did not happen again. And not only did it happen again, it happened worse, and it happened in your own house. They came into Columbus, the toilet bowl, and absolutely destroyed you. Because you're soft. That's why. It's because you're soft. Soft is a mentality that trickles from the top down, and no matter how much Ohio State fans run around denying it, people with sets of eyes can watch Ohio State play and see that they're soft. Soft teams can be really good. Okay? Soft teams can be really good. They just can't be good enough. Not against a team like Michigan or, unfortunately for you, a team like Georgia. It's just not going to work. Teams like Michigan and Georgia who are as equally as talented or close to as equally as talented as Ohio State can out-physical you and win the games. Now, Ohio State's got such a massive talent advantage over the majority of the teams they play in the Big Ten that this soft baby food approach will work because talent will win out in the end. We saw this in the Northwestern game. Northwestern is more physical than you, but you somehow managed to miraculously score 21 on them and beat them 21-7 because you're just way more talented. We saw this in the Maryland game where you were losing at halftime, but you're just way more talented than Maryland. That talent wins out in the end despite the fact that you're soft as fuck and you're able to beat a Maryland team. But what happens when you play teams that can recruit at or near your level? What happens when you play teams whose talent from top to bottom is at or close to where you're at? Well, let's go back to last year. You played 2 big games last year in the regular season. You played 2 games last year in the regular season against teams that were close or equally as talented as you. One at the beginning of the year, one at the end of the year. One at home, one on the road. 2 different teams, 2 different locations, same fucking result. You got big boyed. You got pushed around like an 8-year-old girl on roller skates at home against Oregon last year. You then had all year to try to toughen up, to fix the lines of scrimmage, to stop getting your dick pushed in the dirt at the lines of scrimmage every time the ball was snapped before the Michigan game on the road in Ann Arbor, and you couldn't do it. You came out and you got humiliated. You then had an entire offseason to prepare for not 1, but 2 big games in 2022. Notre Dame at the beginning of the year and Michigan at the end of the year. Notre Dame, congratulations, you beat them. A head coach, a brand new head coach, and you beat them at home, 21-10. You struggled to get to 20 points. Michigan at the end of this year, you struggled to get to 20 points. You get pushed around. You get bullied. They manhandled you on the line of scrimmage because you're soft as fuck from the top down. It's an overall mentality. It's how you recruit. It's the players you recruit. It's the schemes you run offensively and defensively. It's the way you practice. It's the way you prepare. It's the way the coaches treat the players. It's everything. It's all of that. It's a top-down approach. It's an overall philosophy at Ohio State of being soft. And unless you massively out-talent the team that you're playing, you don't win. It's that simple. In your last 3 losses, Oregon last year, Michigan last year, Michigan this year, you have given up almost 900 yards rushing. 900. 900. That's almost 300 a game. That's soft. I mean, how y'all can sit around and deny this? Just accept it. Accept it and try to figure out a way to win these games being soft. Stop trying to convince people that you're not soft, and then every single time you play a physical team, you get pushed around. Now, again, when you weigh out talent them, you can win anyway. Northwestern this year, Maryland this year, Penn State this year, Notre Dame this year. Yeah, but you're still getting pushed around on the lines in these games. I don't understand what y'all aren't seeing. It's obvious to everybody with a set of eyes why Ohio State loses the games they lose. It's Ryan Day. It's his overall mentality and philosophy from the top down. It's everything I just went through, from recruiting to preparation to game management. It's all of that. It's a soft approach. It's a soft approach. It's time for Ohio State fans to stop. This is like when Oklahoma fans used to deny that they had a bad defense and that's why they were losing. Remember? They just refused to accept it. No. We can win like this. We can win. No, you can't. You can beat teams in the Big 12, Oklahoma, when you have a massive talent advantage over them, okay? You can't win the big games at the end because your defense fucking sucks. And it got proved over and over and over and over again, to the point where Oklahoma fans finally came to the realization. Although it took Lincoln Riley giving them the bird and hopping on a plane in the middle of the night to Los Angeles for them to figure that out. But now, look at Southern Cal. Is anyone surprised at the way Southern Cal's season ended? No. You know why? Because you get what you get. And what you get with Ryan Day is a very talented team that can out-talent almost everybody in the country. But when they run up against a team that has equal or close to equal talent, they get bullied, they get pushed around, they get big boyed, and they get beat. It has happened under Ryan Day time and time and time and time again. You get what you get. Why in the world you think that after getting absolutely manhandled for 4 hours by Michigan, you think that you can show up 4 weeks later and beat a team that is Michigan on steroids? Georgia is just absolute idiocy. and lunacy, honestly. I really don't understand it. Well, Georgia ain't seen nothing like the Ohio State offense. Are you sure, dummy? Because who's number one in points per game in all of college football this year? I'll give you a hint. It's not Ohio State. It's not Ohio State. Ohio State is number 2. Tennessee is number 1 in points per game this year in college football. Georgia has played Tennessee. Tennessee scored 13. 13. Now, I'm not here to tell you that means that you're scoring less than 13. I am here to tell you, though, that what that means is Georgia ain't got nothing to worry about from the Ohio State offense. You can't come into this game and just go, well, we average 44 points a game, so I guess we're going to beat Georgia 44-43. No, you ain't. You ain't getting nowhere near 44, dummy. You're not. Georgia, Ohio State ain't Tennessee. I agree. Ohio State is not Tennessee. Ohio State is more talented than Tennessee top to bottom. No question and no doubt about it. No question and no doubt about it. And the offenses are not the same. That is 100% clear. But over the course of the season, Tennessee scored more points per game than Ohio State did. So if we're looking at stats or evidence to try to figure out what the best offense is, I don't know what stat you want to cherry pick, but points per game is a pretty important stat, and Tennessee is number 1, and they somehow managed to put a 13 burger on the field, on the scoreboard against UGA. So quit running around with the who it they played. You sound so fucking retarded. Everybody sounds retarded when they say that. We're in the playoffs. Georgia's played 13 games. You've played 12. You don't want to know why? Want me to remind you why you've only played 12? Fucking idiot. It's because you can't beat your big brother Michigan. That's why. Michigan fucking owns you. Michigan owns Ohio State almost as bad as Georgia does. Georgia owns Ohio State. The SEC owns Ohio State. It got me mad and drooling now, and it got me off track and forgot what the hell I was talking about. But Georgia's played 13 games, and Ohio State's played 12. Some of those 13 games Georgia has played has been against good, legitimate competition. Some of those 12 games Ohio State played has been against good, legitimate competition. Some of the games Georgia has played have been against terrible teams. Some of the games Ohio State played has been against terrible teams. This whole who have they played thing or Georgia ain't played nobody, that might work in week 1 or 2, not in fucking January, you goddamn idiot. Both of these teams have played an entire season's worth of games. They've played some good teams and some bad games. The difference is Georgia has beat every goddamn fucking team they've played while we just watched you get rolled over onto your belly and ass raped for 4 fucking hours by your big brother Michigan in your own goddamn house. Fucking idiot. Ohio State fans are so fucking arrogant and cocky, running around like they own the fucking college football world. Newsflash, you fucking don't. You don't. 2 national titles in the last 52 years, and they act like they're the kings of fucking college football. What a joke. What a joke. Look up the number of teams that have 2 national titles in the last 52 years. It's a lot of fucking teams. You're standing in the same goddamn line they are. You ain't no better than anybody else, fucking Ohio State fans. A bunch of goddamn half-witted retards. That's what y'all are. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the cold weather y'all constantly cry about that's done brain-rotted you. Yeah, you know if you drink a Slurpee too fast or a slushie too fast and they call it that brain freeze, Ohio State man must have permanent brain freeze. That's the only logical explanation I can come up with to justify the constant drool and dribble of bullshit that you idiots put out on social media day after day after day after day, 365 days a year. You know who worships Ohio State? Ohio State fans. That's it. Nobody else gives a good goddamn about Ohio State. They don't run college football. They're not college football royalty. They're not somehow better than everybody else. They ain't shit, dummy. Another word from the sponsor while I calm down.
Once upon a time, fabric softeners cost a lot, but now there's new Snuggle fabric softener.
Hi, I'm Snuggle. Snuggly softness. That's really less expensive.
Where was I? Oh yeah, Ohio State fans are stupid. Look, Ohio State's got a great offense. I'm not going to be one of these idiots that gets on here and says, well, Ohio State ain't no good. Their offense ain't no good. Their offense is overrated. They ain't played nobody. They ain't done this. They ain't done that. Blah, 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 blah. Ohio State's offense is good. C.J. Stroud is good. Marvin Harrison is good. Emeka Egbuka is good. Mayan Williams is approaching good. You've got good players. Offensively, there's no doubt, no question about it. I mean, look at the recruiting rankings over the last 3 to 4 years. Ohio State's roster is loaded. I'm not doubting or denying that at all. But what I'm telling you is that doesn't equal a win for Ohio State in this game. Georgia has played loaded elite offenses, and not only has Georgia beat those teams, they have shut them down. Just completely shut them down. The idea that somehow, while Georgia has been on this now 2-year run of dominance in college football, that we've yet to see anything like Ohio State is just not true. It's just not true. Oregon, you talk about how good your offense is, Ohio State, and it's really, really good. Second in points per game or whatever it is behind Tennessee. Again, Georgia played Tennessee and held them to 13. They're the number 1 team in points per game. You're number 2. Oregon is top 10 in points per game. Top 10. They scored 3. Mississippi State and Will Rogers. This guy's got 1 million touchdown passes. Georgia this season alone. The 3 best quarterbacks Georgia played this season, okay? Hendon Hooker from Tennessee, Will Rogers from Mississippi State, and Bo Nix from Oregon. Combined, those 3 players combined have 90 touchdown passes this year. You know, you start adding in touchdown runs, especially for Bo Nix, who had a bunch. Hendon Hooker had some. It's over 100 touchdowns combined between those 3. But we'll stick to just passing because that's what's relevant to Ohio State and C.J. Stroud, because we know C.J. Stroud ain't running, and we all know why. Soft. This guy, he ain't running nowhere. He hates to run. He doesn't let. I'm getting off on a tangent here. Boy, y'all wouldn't last 5 seconds in my mind. I've got so much useless knowledge and information rolling around in my mind, it's ridiculous. So, Hendon Hooker, Bo Nix, Will Rogers, 90 touchdown passes between those 3. Georgia played all 3 this year, all 3. 1 touchdown pass. 1. See? 1. Ooh. 1. Not 1 each, not 1 per game against Georgia. 1 total in those 3 games. Those 3 quarterbacks who threw 90 touchdown passes this season, 90, combined to throw 1 touchdown pass against UGA. 1. So this idea that we're about to see something with C.J. Stroud that we've never seen is just ridiculous. Georgia has played elite level quarterbacks. We've played quarterbacks with elite arms. We've played quarterbacks that can run and scramble. We've played dual threat quarterbacks. We've played pocket quarterbacks. We've played quarterbacks on good teams. We've played good quarterbacks on bad teams. We've played every kind of quarterback and offense you can possibly imagine, and we've shut them all down. Will Rogers, Bo Nix, Hendon Hooker, 3 of the best quarterbacks in the country this year, combined for 90 touchdown passes. Together, they combined for 1 touchdown pass against UGA. That's what you have to look forward to tomorrow if you're Ohio State and C.J. Stroud. Okay, so dispense with this notion that who have they played. All you're telling us with the who have they played thing is that you're college football ignorant. That's all. And look, a lot of you are, and that's okay. A lot of you watch Ohio State. You don't watch anything else. You haven't watched 1 second of a Georgia game. We know it. You know it. The Zimbabwean people know it. Everybody knows it. Okay? It's evident from your comments with the who have they played. Georgia ain't played nobody. Georgia ain't played nobody. Or how about this one? Georgia almost lost to Mizzou. Like, somehow almost losing negates the fact that you actually did fucking lose. Like, Georgia didn't lose a game, dummy. The Missouri game was 7 weeks ago. Why don't you look at Georgia's last 4 or 5 games? Look at the last month of the season. But no, you want to look at something from way back, was that October 1st, whenever that was when we played Mizzou? Way back when? Shit. That Georgia game against Missouri was so long ago that back then, people still thought Ohio State had a chance to win the Natty. That's how long ago that was. That was a long time ago. So if you're banking on the fact that Georgia didn't beat Missouri by as much as you think they should, that's the reason you're somehow beating Georgia. Good luck. Good luck is all I have to tell you. That was 7 or 8 weeks ago. What about what's happened in the last 4 or 5 games Georgia has played? We'll go all the way back to the bye week, which was the last weekend of October. Come out of the bye week, play Florida, blew them out. After that, Tennessee, blew them out. After that, Mississippi State, blew them out. After that, Kentucky, blew them out. After that, Georgia Tech, blew them out. After that, LSU, blew them out. On and on and on. But yeah, Georgia did only beat Mizzou 26-22 8 weeks ago. Maybe that version of Georgia will show up against Ohio State. And if they do, I guess you might be able to keep the game close. Short of that happening, though, you're not winning. Another way we know that Ohio State fans are too fucking dumb to tie their own shoes, which is why they mostly wear Velcro. I don't even think some of them can Velcro. Some of these Ohio State fans have to get someone else to Velcro their shoe. It's just sad. I don't see how y'all get y'all's tongue off the window long enough to type comments, but somehow you do. But here's another dead giveaway you'll see from idiot sucknut fans that'll let you know right away they don't know shit about football. They'll say this. Well, if you take away Brock Bowers, Georgia can't do nothing. Tell us you don't know what the fuck you're talking about without actually telling us, man. Brock Bowers has what? 7 or 8 touchdown passes all year? Touchdown catches all year? Yep, somehow Georgia averages 40 points a game. I mean, Brock Bowers went like 4 or 5 weeks in a row at one point in the season without a touchdown pass, while Georgia was busy beating everybody they played 45-10, but somehow, like, we just take Brock Bowers away. Georgia won't be able to do nothing. I mean, I wish y'all could see how stupid you appear to the rest of us when you say stuff like that. And first of all, for 1 second, let's just assume that's true, okay? Let's assume that if you somehow limit Brock Bowers to 3 catches for 40 yards and no touchdowns, that's all you got to do. That's the key. That's the secret, woo. Let's just assume that's true, okay? I want you to imagine what a fucking moron I would be, okay? If I came on here and I said, there's one key to beating Ohio State. One key. All you got to do, shut down Marvin Harrison. That's it. It's that simple. That's all you got to do. And I did. All you got to do is shut down Marvin Harrison. Imagine how dumb I would look and sound if I came on here and said that. Fortunately, unlike you, Ohio State man, Uncle Lou does watch football. I know that blows your mind, but I do. And not just Georgia. In fact, I watch 5 games at a time from noon till 2 in the morning every fucking Saturday during the season. Hey, how many of these do you carry around, you fucking morons? Imagine how dumb I was. And what would you say you as an Ohio State fan, if I came on here and said, all you got to do is shut down Marvin Harrison and beat Ohio State? What would you say? You would say, oh, this guy's an idiot. He must not know about Omega Ibuka. He must not know about Mayan Williams. That's y'all with these Brock Bowers comments. All you gotta do is shut down Brock Bowers. First of all, let me ask you a question. Don't you think that in every single game Georgia has played this year, I mean every one, the opposing team's defensive coordinator has spent 40 hours at least the week leading up to that game sitting in a dark room trying to figure out a way to stop Brock Bowers? Don't you think everyone has tried that? Ohio State fans act like they have figured something out, you know? I've been studying the film, and all you got to do is take Brock Bowers out of the game. First of all, you can't do that. You don't have the ability. Brock Bowers is going to do whatever the hell he wants against you. But the idea that, like, that's all Georgia has is just so ridiculously insane. The guy's got, like I said, 7 or 8 touchdown passes or something, catches, yet somehow we're averaging 40 points a game. I mean, it's just, mind blown. Mind blown. Boy, Ohio State fans are dumb. Getting back to the thing from earlier, it's got to be the cold weather or something. It's just frozen their brains or something. It's just impossible for it to thaw out. I still think Ohio State fans versus the weather is the most underrated rivalry in all of college football, too. It really is. Ohio State fans were mad as fuck when the Michigan game came around and they saw that it was going to be like 60 degrees and sunny. Boy, y'all was mad as hell. And that pre-built excuse went right out the window. Couldn't blame the weather for that loss like you did last year. Boy, y'all love blaming the weather, don't you? It's hilarious. If the SEC had to play up here, they'd never win a game. Well, I can't wait till the playoffs expand. I cannot wait till the playoffs expand. We go to that 12-team playoff. Ohio State's going to finish the regular season with a loss to Michigan, of course. And they're going to be ranked like, 6th or 7th or something like that, which means they get to host a playoff game, right? Because that's the way the new playoff structure is going to work. If you're ranked 5 through 8 in the final rankings, you host a first-round playoff game at your home stadium. I can't wait for that first year in a 12-game playoff, whenever it is, where Ohio State gets one of those 5 to 8 seeds and has to host a 10-2 Tennessee or a 10-2 Florida or a 10-2 LSU or whoever it is from the SEC. And the SEC packs up their bags, hops on a plane, flies up north to Columbus, Ohio, where no Southern team could possibly win a game, and gets off the plane in 25-degree weather and just beats the absolute fucking will to live out of you bunch of goddamn deadbeats. I can't wait for that fucking day. I hope it's Georgia. When we start going to a 12-team playoff and it looks like Ohio State's going to be somewhere in the 5 to 8 range, I'm going to start praying for Georgia to lose games at the end of the regular season. Like if it looks like Ohio State's going to be 5, I'm going to pray Georgia finishes 12. Or if it looks like they're going to be 6, I'm going to get on my knees and hope that Georgia finishes 11. I want Georgia to be the team that goes up to Columbus, Ohio and beats the absolute soul out of you in 25-degree weather. I can't wait because it's going to happen. The first opportunity Ohio State gets to host a playoff game in cold weather against an SEC team, it doesn't matter what the records of those teams are, who the coaches are, who the players are. It doesn't matter. Whatever SEC team it is that gets that first shot at Ohio State in a home playoff game for Ohio State in December when it's cold is going to beat the absolute shit out of Ohio State, and I can't fucking wait. I can't wait. And how can I possibly be so confident in that? Well, it's because Ohio State just can't beat the SEC. This is plain and simple. Sunrise and east, water wet, fire hot. Ohio State can't beat the SEC. It's that simple. Ohio State's been playing football for 130 years. They're 5-12 all time against the SEC. 5-12 all time against the SEC. If you want to separate it to just postseason, where generally speaking, teams are matched up similarly, right? Whether it be a playoff or bowl game, usually the teams that get matched up are pretty close in terms of how good they are in that given year. So if you want to just look at postseason matchups, Ohio State is 2-11. 2-11 against the SEC. No wonder y'all blame weather or scheduling or whatever else, y'all. I mean, no wonder. That has got to be one of the most humiliating stats in all of college football. Ohio State, whose fans run around acting like they're God's gift to college football, is 2-11 against the SEC all time in the postseason. That is absolutely pitiful. 5-12 all time, including regular season. Now, you got some Ohio State fans who run around spreading around this lie, this rumor that got started on some suck-nut dick-sucking site called 11 Warriors, where they claim a much better record against the SEC, a winning record, where they've played actually 40 or 50 more games against the SEC than what I'm pointing out, which is 5-12 all time, 2-11 in the postseason. What they don't tell you when they post that stat, they are counting wins against teams who are currently in the SEC, but were not in the SEC when the game was played. In other words, let's say they beat Missouri or Texas A&M 50 years ago. They're counting that now as a win against the SEC. That's how desperate and sad Ohio State is to try to prove relevancy that they don't have. They literally have to change reality, change the past, bend time and space to try to pretzel their mind into believing that they can actually compete with the SEC. This would be like saying if, let's say Southern Cal beats not Southern Cal. Who's Utah, isn't it? Utah is playing Penn State in the Rose Bowl this year, right? Let's say Utah wins. Let's say Penn State wins. Penn State beats Utah in the Rose Bowl. All right? Let's say in 20 years, Utah then joins the Big Ten. So now that's no longer counts as a Pac-12 game. This is how stupid they are. This is how dumb they are. The bottom line is Ohio State is 5-12 against the SEC, 2-11 in the postseason, about to be 2-12 in the postseason, and 5-13 all time. But making shit up, lying, trying to get built-in excuses like the weather, stuff like that. This is something that the Ohio State dummy has been doing for a long time, and they're doing it again now for this game. I'm sure you have all seen this bullshit posted on the internet over the last couple of days about Georgia placing a camera somewhere in Mercedes-Benz Stadium to spy on Ohio State's practice. First of all, if you actually look into the story instead of just believing some screenshot or post you see on Facebook, Twitter, or whatever, if you actually look into it, it will take you 5 or 6 seconds to figure out that this is complete bullshit. It'll take you 5 or 6 seconds to understand what actually went on here. There are cameras. Have you ever been anywhere in public? Now, for you Ohio State people, I'm seriously asking because a lot of you probably haven't been out of your mother's basement since Y2K. But those of you that do actually have the balls to go outside every once in a while, there's cameras everywhere. Maybe that scares you. Maybe that's breaking news to you. You're pretty much being recorded all the time if you're outside in public somewhere. And the Mercedes-Benz Dome is no different. There are cameras placed in different spots around the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Some Ohio State staffer somewhere saw one of these cameras. And first of all, the whole idea that it's a hidden camera is ridiculous. If you walk in this room and you see this camera right here, is it hidden? Is that a hidden camera? No. It's a camera in plain view. And such was the case with these cameras at the Georgia Dome. And apparently there was one of these security cameras somewhere in a entryway or something that, and you know, these cameras are like, have you ever seen these security cameras on the ceiling? They're like globes and they're black glass. You can't actually see the camera in it. And some of those cameras are like 360 cameras. They can turn around and do different things. And so I guess the staffer for Ohio State was concerned that that camera in that entranceway, if positioned correctly, could view Ohio State's practice. Maybe it could, maybe it couldn't. I don't know. But that's a camera that's been in the Mercedes-Benz Dome Stadium since security was installed when the stadium was built. Now, the people that work for Mercedes-Benz Stadium agreed to turn that camera off or whatever it was they did. But that's the story. Not that Kirby Smart somehow walked in and he had like, I don't know, let's see. Is there a pen somewhere or something? Like he had one of these Inspector Gadget or James Bond cameras hidden in a pen or something somewhere, and he set it on like the Ohio State bench pointing at the field. That's the way these Ohio State fans are running around acting. Oh my God, Kirby Smart's a cheater. I knew it. Trying to film Ohio State practice. We don't need to film Ohio State's practice. We know what you're going to do. And more importantly, we know what you're not going to do. You're not going to be throwing the ball to Jackson Smith in the Jigba. We know that. We don't need to put a camera in your practice to figure that out. He quit. He doesn't want to get humiliated on national television right before the draft. It would ruin his draft stock. Of course he's not playing. We know that. Same with Travion Henderson. Yeah, he can come. He's coming back next year because he's a sophomore, so he's coming back. But he would be so bad against Georgia that nothing he could do next year would change the scout's mind. So yeah, we don't need. We know they're not playing. We know what the plan is. Here's the plan. It's the same plan Ohio State always has in big games, and it's going to go the same way. Ohio State's going to come out. They're going to try to establish the run. They're going to run and throw. They're going to mix it up. They're going to take some deep shots to Harrison and Ibuka. They're going to do some ball control stuff on the ground. They're going to do some ball control stuff through the air with some shorter passes. They're going to do a lot of that. Some of it will be successful. Some of it won't. Some of their possessions will end in points. Some of them won't. At some point in the second half of this game, Georgia's going to get a lead, probably a 2-score lead. Ryan Day's going to get nervous. He's going to abandon the run game altogether like he does every single time in these big games. He's going to put the ball in C.J. Stroud's hands on every single play and cross his fingers that C.J. Stroud can win the game, and it's not going to work. I mean, we've seen this over and over and over again with C.J. Stroud and Ryan Day in Ohio State the last 2 years. That's what you're going to do. We don't need to film practice to see that. We know. We know that's what you're going to do. Why would anyone need to film that in practice? And we know how it's going to end. You're going to completely abandon the run game like you always do when things start to break down, and Georgia's going to pin their ears back defensively. Georgia will probably have 4 sacks in the second half of this game. Never mind what they do in the first half. Georgia's probably going to sack you 4 times just in the second half because you're going to abandon the run game like you always do. And then the fans are going to be on social media, like they always are, crying about Ryan Day. He doesn't need to be calling the plays. We need a new offensive coordinator. We need an actual offensive coordinator. Ryan Day's got too much on his plate. He recruits great, but in the big games, he always shits the bed in the second half. It's going to be the same thing. Ohio State fans, you know this. How do I know this? Because I see what you say after all of these games. And the same thing is coming Saturday night. Exactly the same. I just laid out the entire game plan for you. I even gave Ohio State some credit. They're going to score some. It's going to be a competitive game. It's going to be a back and forth type of game. At some point in the second half, though, Georgia will get a 2-score lead. Ryan Day will panic. He will go into a full-blown meltdown, anxiety attack, rubber room straitjacket meltdown like he always does. He will completely abandon the run like he always does. He will put it in C.J. Stroud and rely on C.J. Stroud to come from behind and win the game in the second half, and he won't be able to do it. I know that because I've been hearing you say that. For 2 years, I've been hearing you say that, Ohio State fan. So how can you now tell me I'm wrong? All I'm doing is agreeing with you. I'm just agreeing with you. But again, I fully expect y'all to be in the comments with the excuses and the dumb shit. You're going to say a lot of the dumb shit I said you would say. There will be somebody in this video that says, if we just shut down Brock Bowers. There will be somebody that says that. There will be somebody that says that. There will be somebody that says, Georgia ain't played no good offenses. You really ain't played nobody. There will be somebody that says that in the comments of this video. You will see it in this video. This is how dumb these people are. Especially the ones that actually live in Ohio. I don't know if there's a population in America dumber than the population of Ohio. And it doesn't really surprise me. The only people still left in Ohio are the ones that are too dumb, too poor, and too uneducated to get out. That's all. The rest of them have moved into trailer parks in North Florida. That's just a fact. If you go to North Florida and walk up to any random person on the street and ask them where they're from outside of a trailer park, you know what they're going to tell you? Ohio. So the only ones that are still left there are the ones that are too dumb, too poor, or too uneducated to get out. That's it. That's all that's left there. And the 100,000 Ohio State students that are there when school is in session. That's all that's in Ohio. 100,000. Ohio State has never turned down a student. Ohio State has never not accepted anyone. 100,000 students a year when you count satellite campuses and online classes. 100K a year. We have the biggest fan base in America. Yeah, because you're graduating 100,000 dumbasses a year. And yes, they're dumbass. These are a group of people that actually believe. I want you to try to wrap your mind around this. This is just unbelievable. These two things I'm about to tell you will absolutely floor you. And they're true. I Googled it. Are you sitting down? Hell, I might even sit down. I'm going to sit down for this one. Shout out to Valencia Theater Seating, too. God, these seats. Look at this. This isn't a sponsored video or an ad. I'm just telling you these seats are amazing. Look at that. They got the full recline. Anyway, I hope you're sitting down when I tell you this. This is how dumb Ohio State people are, okay? This is how dumb Ohio State people are. They actually believe these two things. Number one, they think cream of wheat is better than grits. You can't make this shit up. You can't make this shit up. Number two, they only drink unsweet tea. God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Somebody needs to help these people. Somebody needs to help these people. I've been trying to help y'all in terms of football, but y'all are so hard-headed and ignorant and dense and thick-skulled. It's just not working. But, yeah, the people that live in Ohio, I don't know. Lou, what's your score prediction for this game? What's your score prediction? Well, it's a good question. They are playing tomorrow, aren't they? Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. Is it too late to make y'all a deal? I'm in a deal-making mood. I'm going to make the Ohio State fans and the team a deal right now. And if I was y'all, I would accept this deal. Now, I happen to know that Ohio State has already made their way down to Atlanta. But that doesn't matter. It's not too late to turn around and just go back home. If I was you, that's what I would do. If I was a fan, I'd sell your ticket. It's a waste of money. Why are you paying all that money for a ticket just to sit there and cry your way into the new year? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. Sell your ticket, give it away. If I'm an Ohio State fan, and look, if you're an Ohio State fan, instead of going to the game and watching Ohio State get monkey drug up and down the field for 4 hours and then crying your way into the new year, just stay in the whatever Motel 6 you're checked into and punch yourself in the face for 4 hours. It'll hurt less, and in the end, it'll cost you less money. But if the fans and the team decide they actually want to play this game, Georgia will be there waiting. This kickoff is set for just after 8 o'clock on Saturday night. So that's the deal. That's my offer. Don't fucking show up. Don't show up. That's it. That's the deal. That's what I'm offering you. Make the decision to get in your Chevettes and drive back up north where you came from and don't ever fucking come back down here again. Please. Don't ever fucking come back down here. I actually don't like that this game's the Peach Bowl. I would rather this be somewhere else. I don't like having this many Ohio people crawling around my state. So do me a favor. After Georgia's done beating the shit out of your podunk football team on Saturday night, please, please, clown car your way back into whatever Chevette you drove down here and get the fuck out of my state immediately. Thank you. And don't dare stop at a Waffle House on the way out either. Stay the fuck out of my Waffle Houses too. But you almost had to stop the video again to keep myself from getting overwhelmed. But anyway, I'll make you a deal. You can pack your shit up and go home now and save yourself the humiliation and the embarrassment of getting just absolutely Donkey Konged for 4 hours on national television Saturday night in front of God, Jesus, baby Jesus, your mother, your granny, your grandma, your grandpa, your papa, and everybody else. Or you don't want to do that. Ohio State can drag that group of Yankee Doodle dandies they call a football team down to Mercedes-Benz Stadium tomorrow night at 8 o'clock and come get you some of this, bitch.